Hey, if you are looking to enhance your small business and get your name out there, Lockdown Universe is offering the capability for you to be promoted on the podcast. We'd love to partner with you. We offer monthly memberships, we offer 3-month memberships, we offer yearly memberships, or just for a few podcasts. So if you are interested, please email lockdownuniverse@gmail.com. We'll get back to you and we'll be happy to give you some quotes. Thanks so much and enjoy the show.
What up, guys? Welcome back to Lockdown Universe, home of the bizarre, peculiar, and unheard of stories of UFO legend and paranormal lore. Welcome back, welcome back. Happy to be back. I feel like Fred Rogers here, putting on my hoodie here and getting ready for the show. So, if you are interested and got a small business idea and you want to promote it on the podcast, feel free. We've done it before. I'd be happy to do it again. We've had lots of good feedback. And we've had some really good feedback on the show lately, too. Numbers have been really going up quite a bit, so that's been helpful. So I think people are getting the name out there and getting the word out there that we're here to help, here to serve, and here to give information. Tonight will be no different, and I hope you enjoy it. So hopefully you guys strap on in and have yourselves a nice glass of whatever you want and sit back and enjoy. So let me pull this up here. What we're going to talk about tonight is a very possible real future, and I know we've kind of gone the gamut of different podcasts lately. Everything from the "Are birds real?" or "Birds aren't real" movement to the satellite movement to basically everything alien. Now today I want to talk about a very near future concept. So what might possibly happen when AI takes all of our jobs? And what we'll do as a human species with all this fucking free time we're going to have, because it's going to be awesome, right? The government's going to give us all this money and we're going to live a happy utopian lifestyle, right? Well, let's examine this just for a moment. Imagine a world where everyone gets universal basic income because AI has transformed the world and taken over all of the hard labor jobs and most of the highly intelligent, highly skilled jobs as well. Basically taking over the world economy. That basically used to thrive on human labor, but now has shifted to an AI-driven model. The police system has been changed into an AI model where they use AI judges and AI police officers that are supposedly not crooked, and their judgment is never wrong. The machines perform tasks with such precision and efficiency that's unmatched by any human, so all humans' positions are eliminated. From manufacturing to healthcare to education to entertainment, all AI systems took over, rendering human jobs basically obsolete. That's why I think Hollywood was fighting so hard for their positions when they did that writer strike and the actor strike. Universal basic income has become established to change and balance out this seismic shift. Imagine if every adult received a monthly stipend that covered housing, food, and essential bills. It's enough to live on and maybe just a little bit more. But not a lot. Nobody's a millionaire. Nobody's rolling in the dough. It almost becomes a communistic society where you punch your ticket, just like down in Cuba, you punch your food ticket and you get your food for the month. You punch your electricity ticket and you get your electricity. And it's only so much. Interesting, right? Let's keep going here. The intention was to provide security in a world where traditional employment was basically a relic of the past. They say this could happen as early as 2042. We're in 2024 right now. It's 18 years away, right? Am I wrong? 18 years, something like that. So, think about this for a moment. At first, in this new world, there is relief. No longer chained to the 9-to-5 jobs. Everybody became free. people found themselves with an abundance of free time. Sounds like a dream come true. People could start really working on their goals and their dreams and their desires to be a painter, to be an artist, to work on writing. Most people welcome this change. They were free from having to be so focused and so determined on work all the time that now all of a sudden they were finding themselves in libraries, parks, developing some codes and problem solving. There was a new bustling metropolis that was founded, and most people found a lot of enjoyment there. One day, one individual, we'll call her Emma, stumbled upon an impromptu gathering in the central square. A man named Aiden with infectious energy was speaking to a growing crowd. We are more than our jobs. That's how we feel right now, right? We feel like we're more than our jobs, but when somebody asks you, what do? You tell them what you do in your job. AI can handle our tasks, but it can't replace our humanity, Aiden said. It's time to rediscover our passions and connect with one another in new ways. And Emma was intrigued. Aiden spoke of a movement he called the New Renaissance, which aimed to redefine human purpose in the AI age. They encouraged people to pursue their passions and contribute to the community in ways that machines could not. I found this very true in the Chicago suburbs, where a lot of people contribute to society in artistic ways. The society has found ways to house artists and have them collaborate in these kind of housing districts and make it more convenient and make it more accessible for people to come together as artists. But in the future, can you imagine it just being artists? We need more than that, right? We need people who are engaged in an interest in other ways, maybe nurturing, maybe mothering, maybe fathering. If you ever saw the movie The Gift, that movie really kind of speaks a lot to what this potential society could be. Or is it The Gifter? No. Anyway, it had Jeff Bridges in it. So, in this story, Emma was intrigued. She decided to attend a New Renaissance meeting that was held in a renovated warehouse, and the space buzzed with activity. There were art classes, music workshops, science experiments, and philosophical debates. One might think that this is basically heaven, that this is a community where you can really thrive, really grow, and not have to worry about, I gotta go work at the grocery store, I gotta go work at the hardware store, I gotta go do this. No, all of your time could be focused on this project space. Really interesting if you think about it, but let's continue. Maybe there's some sort of hidden agenda here that might not necessarily be so good. So, Emma felt a spark of excitement. Emma, I think, is really all of us here in this story. She felt a spark of excitement she hadn't experienced in years. She joined a group that was learning to paint and soon found herself immersed in a world of colors and creativity. For me, there's nothing better than seeing a nice mural on a nice wall in a city that really needs inspiration. And I've seen that in many towns where I've gone. As she delved deeper into the New Renaissance, Emma discovered that many former professionals were using their skills in innovative ways. Doctors taught community health classes. Engineers worked on sustainable energy projects. Artists filled public spaces with murals and sculptures, like I said. Emma used her coding experience to develop educational AI tools, helping children and adults alike to learn new skills. It's interesting to see that doctors, people who once held a PhD or do hold a PhD, now are teaching community health classes. Interesting, right? Where AI AI and search engines could teach you probably all you need, these people are still going to a human aspect, human teacher, to find out about public health class, community health classes. People are still going in person to learn about painting, about artistry. People still are going in person to find out about AI and the expertise in coding. The movement grew, transforming their new area, their new city called New Haven, into a vibrant hub of creativity and collaboration. People were no longer defined by their professions, but by their contributions to the community. Public gardens bloomed with flowers and vegetables and tended by volunteers, and streets were filled with music and art. The communal spaces became centers for learning and connection. People were no longer defined by their professions, but by the contributions to the community. I've heard this before, where when the internet became big and started becoming really huge, the philosophers and the economists were saying that people were no longer going to be defined by anything that they do other than what they do on the net to contribute. Interestingly enough, this is almost kind of the opposite of that. It's contributing in the real world versus contributing to the internet. So as we move forward in this story, the people who lived in this new town, New Haven, they continued to tend to their vegetables and their flowers as volunteers. But not everybody really was content with this new way of life. There's a lot of people out there, men and women, who they have this innate desire, especially in America, to succeed at a seriously high level. Like, they have to be the boss. They have to be the best. They have to earn millions and millions of dollars. They have to wear a crown. They have to drive a Mercedes. They have to be at the top of their game, and they have to do everything the best, and they have to prove it to themselves. And in this type of environment where AI has taken care of all of these tasks, there's not necessarily potentially a spot for a person like that, an alpha dog, if you will. A lot of these are going to be people who are working together, not necessarily trying to be the alpha. They're just trying to work together on projects. So not everybody was content. In some quarters, there were resentment that festered. Groups were calling for the dismantling of AI systems and the return of human jobs, whom held noisy protests. See, this is the idea that I thought of quite a long time ago, and I might have mentioned in a podcast. Imagine that there's an all AI bar and then a human-run bar. The AI bar is cheaper. It's run by robots. You get served by an AI bot. There's AI music. Everything's cheap because it's all paid for already up front. But then you have to pay more to go to the human-run bar because it costs human labor. It's got to cost more. Which one would you go to? Which one would you frequent? Well, in this society, you really wouldn't have much extra money to go to a human bar, but you may feel inclined to contribute more to a human versus an AI machine if there was, some sort of disagreement or some sort of need for the human's help versus the AI's help. So there was a lot of tension, and there was a lot of clashes with law enforcement, which were not uncommon. People wanted their jobs back. But Aiden and the new resistance leaders addressed those concerns by open dialogues with dissenters. They had organized town hall meetings where people could voice their frustrations and fears. Slowly, through empathy and understanding, these people started to change their minds just a little bit. So as we see from these town hall meetings, people can get out a lot of frustration. I just watched a Chicago town hall meeting. Woo doggy. They were not too happy about people who had just moved into their area and were basically creating gangs. There was a gang, basically a bunch of immigrants, as Chicago is a what do they call it? The sanctuary city. They have a lot of immigrants that have come in, and now they're forming gangs, and they're begging people at their doors in the middle of the night for food and shelter and stuff like that. It's pretty wild. So a lot of the citizens went to a town hall, and they were livid, man. Livid, and we're talking about black, Hispanic, white, didn't matter who the people were, they were all pissed. Anyway, it's kind of interesting when we're just talking about humans, much less how it would happen with AI and robots and things like that taking over their jobs. I think there'd be a lot of resentment, dissentment between aldermen and councilmen and mayors, so on and so forth, governors and even presidents. So as the years passed, the new city of New Haven stood as a testament to human capability and adaptability and resilience. The city thrived not because of economic productivity, but because of the richness of the culture and the communal life. People engaged in meaningful activities from art to science, from gardening to teaching. AI had taken over jobs, but it had also freed humanity to discover its essence. Stop there for a second. I think that there's a humongous opportunity if AI does take over all the jobs. There's one thing in particular we need to do as a society, and that is to meditate and to continue to grow our empathy and to continue to grow understanding to the world that we don't even know. The world here, the world underneath us, underneath the oceans, learning how to live symbiotically within the world and how to accomplish that. AI can help us out with that. Then we can live that way. And then we can meditate to understand what it's going to take to ascend to the next level, because we're going to have so much time on our hands that we're going to have to figure out what to do with our spirituality. What do we do with our time? What do we do to make it worth our while? What do we teach our children? What do we want our children to teach their children? I think it's going to be a real opportunity for us to grow in a way that we can't even think about right now, in an exponential way. Just like AI grew exponentially since November 2022 to May 2024, we're going to be able to exponentially grow if we don't have to pay so much attention to work, be stressed out, have our cortisol levels raised, and have all the stresses of that, plus have the weight of the world on our shoulders with taxes, with having to buy vehicles, with having to buy groceries. We would have so much more peace in our lives for a time. Just imagine like the first times of lockdown when nobody had to go to work except for the required workers, right? You kind of had time to kind of sit back and say, okay, hold up. Let's think about this. What are we doing? Okay, we can actually do a few hobbies since we're just sitting around anyway. And people were coming up with the most creative, imaginable things that you wouldn't even think of. The air over Los Angeles became 100% clear. From 100% smog to 100% clear. There's pictures of it before and after. And it was only like a month difference. That's all it took to get the cars off the road. Imagine if we can take all those cars off the road. We can have people meditating. We can have people working together. We can have people not having to worry about money, not have to worry about cash. Do you think that's where this digital currency is going? Do you think that's why it's coming out? Maybe it's going to open up a whole brand new door of civilization for us. Hopefully. That's the goal. That's the goal, right? So, moving forward in this story, it's almost over. Emma's paintings hung in local galleries and a symbol of the transformative power of creativity. The students she taught were developing groundbreaking AI art, blending human intuition with machine precision. The garden she helped cultivate nourished both body and soul. In the end, humanity had not revolted against the AI revolution. Instead, it embraced a new way of living, one where purpose was found not in labor, but in connection, creativity, and community. The new Renaissance had proven that while machines could take over the tasks, the human spirit remained irreplaceable and unbreakable. And I'll stop here for a moment. I enjoy what this story has to say about the potential for human empathy, connection, and understanding. Remember 40-Year-Old Virgin, where the wise old man, he said, life is about connection, not about Cincinnati bow ties and and all of that stuff. Not about late Saturday nights. It's about connection and being together and understanding one another and then helping each other evolve spiritually and emotionally. There's nothing worse than being with a partner that doesn't try to help you evolve spiritually. You need that in your life. Sometimes you might need peace and quiet, but you definitely don't want a yes man. You want somebody that can elevate you in some form or fashion, whatever that might be. And I feel like that's sometimes why we have divorces, is because they don't have enough time to work together, and then they don't have enough patience because they're burning the candle at both ends. They're working and they're trying to have a relationship, they're trying to have a family, and you can't do that with a 9 to 5. You just can't do it. So I think that the only way for humanity to come together, to be better, to be as successful as possible, is to have this AI revolution, to work together, make sure AI doesn't take us over and put us in a human zoo, and hopefully, have the time on your hands to create what you should create, what we can create, which could be the best possible scenario, not just for us, not for our selfish needs, but thinking about future generations and what they need. And what they need is a clean planet, a not 9 to 5 working schedule, and a way to feel successful in their own passions and dreams, whatever they might be. One might say, hey, of course you can still do that right now. You can follow your passions and dreams. This is true. But like anyone else will tell you, when you work 9 to 5 for 20, 25, 30, 35 years, you get burned out. You're tired. And you got other passions you want to pursue. We want to allow future generations to be able to pursue multiple passions without the fear of going bankrupt, changing from one position to another career field. That would be very important, and I think that would be capable with this story, with this potential future outcome. That future could possibly become reality. So, what are your thoughts? I'd like to hear them in the comments section. What is your ultimate goal with AI in the future, and how it might change our perception of culture and humanity? Do you think that we'll turn into more of a communal communist type of society where we all have universal basic income? It seems like it's already started in a lot of states. And do you think we'll become a community where, we're just working in gardens, we're working on art, we're working on metallurgy, we're working on developing AI even more, we're teaching community health classes, we're teaching community ethics classes, how to be a good human. One of the classes that we should have had when we were in school and we never did. How to be a good human, how to treat your fellow humans right, how to have empathy, how to connect with each other on a telepathic scale, or at least an empathic scale, or a sympathetic scale, how to feel each other's energy, how to feel the energy when somebody walks in the room, how to balance your own electrons out. We are all energy. So to be able to control your energy and to help someone else with their potential negative energy when they walk in the room, and protecting yourself at the same time, is super important. We need these types of classes in the new world, in the new utopia. If it is to be, we're going to need these types of classes. Energy controlling, anger management, self-management, self-care, body management, mental health management, all of these tools and tricks that we were never taught as children, at least not as 70s, 80s, and 90s kids. Maybe they have it in the new classes, but now wasn't the way it was back in our day. So I hope that whoever listens to this podcast does push that, for a future goal for our children, is to have, classes for empathy, classes for peace, classes for how to treat your fellow human being well, and how to know if you're being the bully, and how to know how to handle that, and how to handle your own emotions. So anyways, guys, I wanted to just put out this potential future out there, just as a story and a warning and maybe a guidebook. And we can look at different potential outcomes in different future scenarios in the future. So anyway, guys, take care of yourselves physically, spiritually, emotionally. Read books. Teach your kids the right things, man. How to be a good person, how to not be the bully, how to take care of people, how to be a good leader, how to know if you're not a good leader, and follow through on your hobbies and your goals and your dreams. That's how people feel successful. They accomplish small goals that are achievable and measurable, right? So that they can feel like they accomplished something. And you can give your children that. You can give your children something to accomplish that's small and easy. And every little accomplishment they make, their brain feels satisfied. They feel happy. They're feeling like they're succeeding. And as always, continue to question the universe around you. Until next time, guys, take care. Lockdown Universe out. Peace. Go like, follow, share, subscribe. I'm out.